Deuce. What up, Mackheads and Maniacs? We got Melly Mel and we got Bosco in the house. Melly Mel is going to pretty much handle Bosco's questions, and I'm going to sit by idle
No,
in 2
but
hours.
you got to be the moderator, man. You got to do what you do, man. Don't do your part, man. Don't get up out of that.
No, if I find a good question, I'm going to jump in, bro.
No, but you always open up. I like the way you open up, brother. So go,
Okay.
please open up. Yeah, there
Okay,
you go.
Bosco, what's up with you, man?
What's up with them?
Introduce yourself to the platform, bro.
My name is Bosco Qwuantay Adams, government from Compton. Melly Mel stepson.
Okay. You got an interesting story. Uh, First, give me a little background on where you grew up at.
Grew up in Santana Block, Compton. Carmelitos. Grew up in LA 209th and Budlong, all throughout there. From Compton, Santana Block though.
All right, all right. I didn't know you was from Santana. Uh,
Of course, man. We're gonna have a fantastic day up in here today.
so look, man. Being a youth and going to school. How was your grade school years? Was you getting in trouble or doing good in school or what?
Nah, I was in YA. I went to California Youth Authority at the age of 14. So I was I came off the porch very early. So, I was driving cars and selling drugs at 11 years old. So, uh,
Wow.
yeah, I was sentenced to life in the California Youth Authority at the age of 14. So I didn't have any school years during grade school and none of that. I was locked up during them years.
Okay, so let me ask you how old you are now, or what year it was when you caught that case at 14.
That was 89.
All right, so that's when the crack was really booming and shit in
Yeah.
Compton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
How,
was doing
how
good.
did you get introduced to the drugs?
Shit like everybody else back then.
But
Where shit,
but I'm saying, was it friends your age selling, or did you see the older Crips in the neighborhood selling, or?
Yeah, the older guys were selling, but even some young guys a few years older than me was selling. So at that time, it was common to see somebody 13 years old selling crack. You know, that was not ours. That was about the time when people started selling crack and gang banging at the age of 13 and 12 back then. So it was pretty common, though it seems uncommon now. It,
What's the most money you made in a day before you went to YA?
I used to make like $1,000 a day.
1,000 at a 14-year-old. What's the most expensive thing you bought before you went to YA?
Nothing. I was in the just the Regals and Cutlasses with the Daints and the Phantom tops and all that shit back then. So just you know uh, fixing up cars, Regals, Cutlass, Chevys, and all that back then. That was pretty much it. I was never into the Mercedes Benz and none of that back then. I was you know young, wild, active gang member. So I drove the cars that we drove back then.
Hmm. Bosco, do you got a book coming out, or you got a book out?
Yeah, my book is already out. It's been out. Chasing Freedom. CHASIN
And you should have a copy of it in front of you.
FDUM. I should have a copy.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So
Y'all
people can see what you got, man.
just link it on. When y'all air this, just link it on at the beginning or end or whatever. I'm sure y'all can do that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, just put a picture of it up there. Let them know where to get it from jailhousepublishing.com, which is my publishing company.
Oh, that's what's up. J Bone said, "Tell you what's up. You was locked up with his brother-in-law in the feds, Kenny Bean."
Oh, yeah, what's up? Okay, I know old Kenny Bean. Yeah, I was locked up with him in Canada. Yeah.
I'm not seeing the chats, Kev. What is going on?
I don't know. They're there. I'm reading them. They got
Okay.
all the ladies at KMV are tuned in.
The usual, huh? Crystal and Perlona.
Shaniqua,
Okay,
all of them.
man.
Uh, so so anything else you got in the works besides publishing your own publishing company and your book?
Yeah, I gotta be honest with you. I got all type of stuff in the works. But I've been out. It ain't even been four months. I've been out about 4 months and all type of shit. You know, they making a movie about me. I got all type of things lined up. You know, pretty
Give us
much.
the title of the movie.
The title is named Bosco. That's the title of the movie. We in production right now. We got 3 weeks of filming it. We on break right now because of the holidays, but we gonna start back up right after New Year's.
Can
Hopefully,
we talk about some of the people that's playing roles in the up and coming movie?
I mean, I give you guys some, but some people, you know, you got to get hit with that right hook when you see them on there, right? But we got some big name people in it, some real big name people in there, you know, real big names. I mean, you guys, we got. I ain't gonna put everybody out there. I'm gonna let it come out there when it's out there and let them put it out there, you know. But so far, the ones who pretty much probably won't have a problem with letting it be known at the end it is Theo Rossi from Son of Anarchy, uh, Thomas Jane, the Punisher. We all know Aubrey Joseph. He playing me. The dude who played in Cloak and Dagger, like a little brother to me now. Good dude, solid, sharp, way advanced for his years.
Yeah, yeah, I
Uh,
met him, man. He a good dude.
DC Young Fly, John Lewis, UFC champ. But we got some other like real bigger name black people, but I'm not gonna just put them out there right now. You know, I'm gonna let them make their introduction because we haven't yet shot their scenes yet. But once they shoot their scenes and comfortable with putting their name out there on the film, then I'll talk more about them.
For sure, man. Let's go back to when you was 14, Bosco. What were some of the influences you had at that time to, you know what I mean, to kind of that you took up and you wanted like not necessarily patent, but just something that was like a blueprint for you, a template to follow.
A person or just activity?
Persons, activity, you know what I mean? It's all part of it.
What was the culture? The,
Uh-huh.
gang, the gang culture in Compton, it's particularly in
Uh-huh.
the, you know, uh, that's, you know, because just coming up, that's the only thing that I knew. I really
Uh-huh.
knew anything else. So to me, that was the epitome of being a man. You know, Crips were my role models. I didn't look up to Superman or, you know, policeman or fireman or none of that type of shit. I looked up to Crips because growing up, ever since I was 2, 3 years old, you know, being raised by you all, it's like that's where I learned the definition of manhood is from the Crips. And at that time, you know, Compton Crips were like mythical status, you know, just, you know, some of the names and the people, it's like
Right, 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 right.
they were like God back then. So, you know, I pat myself after them, you know, I followed them, followed that culture and that lifestyle and
Uh-huh.
emulate that as best as I could.
Right, right. So during that time at 14, so you knew all the turtles, you knew me, of course, and the gangsters and the Mondos and all those different people because there was a lot of different moving parts within the community, within the tribe that it was impossible not to even associate with one or the other at one given time, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because every name you just said, those were the names.
Uh-huh.
Them were the names back then, you know. Them
Uh-huh.
were the gods, you know. So go back even more, you know, just hearing about, you know, hearing the tales from my uncle Donald, Karate Man, and Ronald, and you know,
Right.
Butch, you know, and all the tales with
And
Tookie and
that's
that, and you
and
know,
that's triple OG Karate Man. Used to be with Tookie and Raymond and all those cats.
yeah. So just hearing them and seeing them interact when I was real young, 4 and 5 and 3 and all that, you know, all that kind of played a role in me admiring the culture and, you know, looking up to them all as role models also.
It's funny you mentioned Karate Man because I was with Ed Malone and Marcellus and them. They were saying that Karate Man was over there teaching everybody in the Grandies karate. That's how they learn how to, you know, get they get they dukes up. You know, man, Karate Man.
Yeah.
Funny man, listening to them talk about that moment. But yeah, but 14, right? You went to YA, and what was that introduction about?
Why did I go to YA?
Uh huh.
Kidnap for ransom, residential robbery. Uh, got caught trying to rob hydraulic dude back in the days, big name dude.
Uh huh.
You know, got caught, got sentenced to life in the California Youth Authority behind it. So.
So was that something that you sit and did you think about that, or did you put that whole plan together at 14? That was pretty a big plan.
I ain't put it together. I was just saying with some other dudes. You know,
Uh-huh.
uh,
Uh-huh.
you know, two of us got caught. Uh, both got sentenced to life. One was 17, so he ended up going to adult court, got sentenced to life. OT,
Uh-huh.
I
Uh-huh.
was juvenile court, got sentenced to life. So we
Uh-huh.
both going to YA. You know, when he finished his YA term, he went on to prison. I think he did like 13 at the time. I ended up catching another case while I was in YA and was sent to Calipatra from California Youth Authority, was sent to Calipatra. After Calipatra, I was released, was out for about 5 months, and California Youth Authority picked me back up to finish my life sentence.
Mm.
I got a dumb
So
question for you,
so
Bosco.
was that like double jeopardy?
I mean, you could say, but you know, at the time, I had a life sentence. They still had custody, man. So even though I did the little time for the assault that I committed in YA in the pen, you know, I still had to finish my California Youth Authority time, which was a life sentence, which meant that they had custody of me till I was 25.
So how was you able to get out from under that authority?
Uh, Pretty much is because when I went to the pen back then, I went to Calipatra. That was like 92. I was 17. And at the time, you know, the structure inside the prisons back then, as far as the homies, was real strong. So when I went in there, you know, it was mandatory that you had to read and study. You know, you want no spending your time in the daytime watching TV. Matter of fact, under the structure back then, early in the morning, you had to get up, roll your mattress up, turn your TV off, and you just studied and worked out all day. And so while I was in there, you know, I started studying and, you know, started educating myself. So by the time I got out and by the time I went back to the California Youth Authority, you know, I was pretty much the changed man. I was more educated. So when I went before the board at the California Youth Authority, you know, I pretty much convinced them that I didn't need to be in YA anymore because I had grown a lot. And the board members believed it, and they ended up releasing me from the California Youth Authority without serving the full life sentence.
Who were some of the people that you met over in Calipatra?
You had Chicken George from Santa Fe Mafia. He was up there. Ant Dog from Long Beach Insane. Frosty from Harlem 30s. Big U was up there at the time from 60s. Snake from 8-9. It was a bunch of homies. We was probably like 150 Crips on the yard at the time. So real deep.
Mm-hmm.
KB from Kelly Park. Green Eyes. Bunch of homies back then.
Okay. So upon getting released, now you finna get released from Calipatra. You got your case, well, not overturned, but you convinced that the board down there, the youth authority, to release you as well. So what year we in now?
94. No, when I got out of YA at the time, that was like the beginning of 96, so the end of 95. December 95 or December 95. Yeah.
So what was going on at that time?
At that time,
now that you matured and everything, you got some knowledge and information. Now you can see things a little bit better.
To be honest with you, like when I first got out of the pen, when I left Calipatra, in the end of 94. As a matter of fact, it was like July, August of 94. So when I left then, I was pretty much a little sharper. I was a planner, I was a thinker, so I was more strategic in everything that I was doing. But when they snatched me back off the streets and put me back in the California Youth Authority, which I failed for no reason, I developed the mentality that, fuck the law, that it don't work. So, I'm not going to try to abide by the laws, because at that time I felt that the laws didn't work for people from communities like us, like where we come from. So, my whole mentality at that time was, shit, when I get out of here, I'm selling as much dope as I can and try to make as much.
It was on.
That's the mentality I had. So when I got out, that's exactly what I did. I started going out of town, different states, different little cities or whatever, and started selling dope. End up getting caught again.
And where did you get caught at that time?
Well, I caught a case in Oceanside. I caught a case in Vegas. Caught a drug case in Oceanside. Caught a forgery case in Vegas, because I was doing counterfeit checks and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Caught a gun case on Vermont and Imperial. And I ended up getting 7 years for the gun and went back to the pen. And that was the summer of 96. So I really didn't stay out for like 6 or 7 months, about 7 months that time.
So now you went back in, you don't have time to reposition yourself, do some more studying, research, get even more educated. And now you're ready to come back out. What year is it?
It was 2002, September 18th, 2002. So
what was the mentality?
After 6 years and 2. Well, to be honest with you, the mentality was a little different. I wasn't so much. I wasn't so eager to start back selling drugs. But the lure and the attraction of making money was still there. So I started doing like a bunch of little white collar crime or whatever, and was doing pretty good at it. Then I, just to try to help some of the homies out, I started back dealing in drugs, because at the time I was pretty much making a lot of money doing the white collar shit. But, I like to see other people get money too. And at the same time, like, most of the homies and people who I associated with from the hood and from Compton or whatever, they didn't really know how to do
Yeah,
the
that's
white
that turtle
collar thing.
mentality
So,
right
you
there.
know,
The
you
turtle
had
wants to see
people.
everybody get some money.
Yeah, so you had people, you know, going down or whatever and selling drugs like that. So I, you know, said fuck it and started back dipping and dabbling in that, and end up getting caught trying to get 1,400 pounds in January 2004. And that's when I got sentenced to 35 years in federal prison
So 1,400 pounds of what?
for weed.
Marijuana. Do you
Yes.
mean to tell me that these people, right, felt okay with giving you 35 years for 1,400 pounds of weed? I mean, okay, it's a lot of weed, but it's still weed. It's legal now, or it was on the precipice of being legal at the time, right? Or people was making inroads to legalizing weed.
Yeah, you had, you know, in California, it was legal for medicinal reasons. You know, you had a couple of states at the time for medical purposes where it was essentially legal.
So what was that atmosphere like, and what state were you in when you caught the 35 years?
Well, I was in St. Louis, but I actually crossed the bridge in the East St. Louis to pick up the weed, and that's where I was caught at. So the charge was actually in the Southern District of Illinois, East St. Louis.
Uh-huh. And from that moment on, now we in another tailspin of trying to figure out what is the next, anticipate the next move, because now you're confronted with this 35 years. How did you deal with that?
Uh, I was actually looking at a life sentence, so I didn't know exactly it was going to be 35. So I also found out that my first child was conceived like a couple weeks earlier. So, you know, my daughter was coming into this world. So I just started to reflect, you know, because at that time it's like a life sentence. You start to tell yourself that, you know, this is it. So you start to do a little reflection on your own life and, you know, ask yourself where it's going. And I saw myself going to prison for life and having a child out there who I couldn't be there for. And so, in all of that, just for some marijuana, like you say, all of that shit compelled me that I wasn't trying to accept that fate, you know, and I wasn't going to snitch and tell on nobody because that's not in me, you know. I don't believe in that. So,
So
only
what you was gonna do about
that I was going to break out. And so,
it?
what I started doing, I started, you know, masterminding escape plans. And, you know, every chance I got, I tried to escape.
So how many escapes did you have?
4.
4. How many
Yeah.
successful escapes?
1.
1. Let's talk about that one.
Wait. Hold on.
Okay.
So
Okay.
when you get them escapes on your record, because they always ask me about that shit. What happens when you get that on your record? Do they lock you up? Like, you know?
Yeah. You bear, it's like trying to dig yourself out of a hole. You can't dig, you digging yourself deeper. So every time I was caught, there was more security measures placed on me and there were more restrictions, you know. And that every time it just got worse and worse. But every time I found myself in a worse situation, I became even more determined to get out of it. So, you know, the more restrictions and security they put on me, the more I would think and try to strategize on the way to get around it.
So we working with theater of the mind, right? Give us, let the Macheads and the Maniacs be able to give them a picture to where they can understand the measures of which they took to watch you and keep you encapsulated. Talk about that.
Well, ultimately, you know, I was placed in a let me give you a little background. Like when the first escape, I was in a regular unit, with the bar in the window, and the fence around the jail or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I managed to cut the bar out, and somebody ended up snitching on me, another inmate. So from there, I was placed in the chute, which is the hole. And in the hole, I'm in a cell by myself, and I'm not allowed to come out much. Maybe come out to a little rat cage for like an hour a day. And I managed to get a hole in my ceiling and get up into the attic of the jail, and found my way to a vent. And as I was kicking the vent out, some cops happened to be out there smoking cigarettes, and they heard me, and I got caught.
Oh, shit.
So from there, they placed me in another cell, and they started rotating me, cell rotations, so that I wouldn't be in one cell for too long and couldn't, create holes or an escape route from the cell. So they would rotate my cells, and they would search my cell every day. They would, more restrictions, not let me out of the cell, come by looking in more often. I end up getting caught up with some tools in there, and they found in the light. So from there, they took me out of that prison, and they put me in this so-called supermax detention facility, where they placed me in a cell. I was locked in a cell 24 hours a day. They had a camera in the cell, and they would come shake my cell down every day, 2, 3, 4 times a day. And, they was on me. And so one day they came around for count, and I was gone.
But by this time, you had gotten a lot better off the 3 prior ties, right?
Exactly.
And you were successful on the 4th go. So talk to us about the 4th go, and give us background on what happened in the 4th one. The successful, somewhat successful breakout.
I ended up getting up into the ventilation system, made a rope out of my blankets, scaled down the building about 50 feet down the building, had somebody pick me up, had a retraction device so the rope can pull back up in the vent as I fled away. Somebody happened to pass by the jail, stop at the jail early that morning, and saw the vent damaged, and went inside and asked the guards, was any work being done at the jail? And they asked, nah, why? They like, the vent out there, it's like something dangling from it, and it's kind of fucked up. So they went around to the side of the building, looked up, and he screamed out, yeah, ran to my cell, got to kicking the door, and I wouldn't wake up. So he opened the door, ran inside, pulled the blankets back, and it was a dummy in the bed. Saw a hole in the roof.
I can just imagine the look on their face at that point. They've been outdone.
Yeah. But it's a lot of people, they can see that documentary, because actually.
And give them the information on that so they can go find it.
Yes, jailhousepublishing.com. Go to
jailhousepublishing.com. You can find the books, T-shirts, mugs, and the documentary, right?
Yeah, you can see the documentary. You can see my book, but it's jailhousepublishing, jailhousepublishing.com. You see all that stuff on there, and I don't want to, give up too much now and ruin the story for them. So let them check out the book, let them see the documentary, and then get ready for the movie, which is going to definitely be in the theaters the end of next year, the end of 2021.
Hey man, I look forward to seeing that movie. That sounds like some good shit. I want to say some fake shit, but because it's a true story, I don't want to use that term, but should
Yeah.
be a great movie, man. Sounds very interesting, especially a brother coming from Compton, a Crip. That just makes it really like all of that to me. That's my type of movie.
Yeah, because it's like from the outside, from the world, we're not supposed to be able to pull things off like that. We're not supposed to be that intelligent. But in all actuality, some of us are. A lot of us are, you know. It's just, and so that's the whole purpose of this story here is to just pretty much inspire all of us to that, you know, no matter what type of situation we find ourselves in, you know, that if we got the will, you know, the determination, we can actually be, you know, brilliant enough to overcome any type of odds or obstacles that are placed before us. And so, even with me being here today, because I had 35 years, but here it is, I only did 16 years and 6 months.
I was about to get to that too, and you gotta exactly you gotta explain that. How did that come about? Because you did a 360. You repositioned yourself. Oh, go ahead and take it.
Uh, yeah, so after going about it the escape route, you know, I decided to use my creativeness and, you know, my wits in learning the law and finding loopholes and ways to use the law to earn my freedom. And, you know, I found, you know, some loopholes or little ambiguities in the law. And, you know, I filed a motion to my judge, and she appointed public defenders to represent me. The attorneys didn't believe that I had a chance. So I fired my attorneys, prepared everything myself, argued everything myself, and ended up getting immediate release. Judge granted my motion and let me out.
Because what I want to believe is all four of them individuals, they was more focused on the four escape, not necessarily the four individuals, but the individuals that involved. They was more focused on the escape and not necessarily your desire and your drive and your ability to learn the law to find out a way to go get outside. You use what the system put in front of you and you took it and used it to your benefit.
Yeah, I mean that's what I think. Sure, we want things to be different. We want a better deck of cards.
Uh-huh.
Some point we got to learn how to play the cards we're dealt. And that's one thing about me. I started saying, okay, these are the cards that I got. So I'm gonna try to play them to the best of my ability. And the system is definitely stacked against us as young black men, and particularly those of us who come from communities that we come from. It is stacked against us. But apparently complaining isn't getting us any results, because we've been complaining and moaning about them for years and the shit is still fucked up, right? So we have to raise our voice and try to implement change, but at the same time, we need to learn how to play the cards that are dealt. And you know, even though we don't have no aces or kings, we have to be a little savvy to where we can try to play the ones that we got to make them work for us. And that's what I started to do. I started to take that approach instead of putting a lot of energy in places where I wasn't getting any results. I decided, okay, let me, you know, put that energy trying to be creative and use their own, you know, cards against them, you know.
So how did you remove the fear from that situation? Because a lot of people, they deal in so much in fear when it comes to these type of scenarios and situations. How did you remove it?
Well, life in general, a lot of people just deal with fear. Fear, I mean, that's the reason why a lot of things are so fucked up now, is because everybody's fearful. Just even like sometimes in our culture where we like to kill each other, it's the fear factor where, I see another black dude, and from my experience, I know that I believe that black dude might be out to get me because he might be a rival gang member, or, he might be this or that. So, fear factor is a problem with a lot of, that's one of our biggest problems is fear. A lot of things that we do, we think is based off of courage, or is based off of, you know, a need, but in all actuality is fear. So way I was able to overcome all that fear is because I told myself I had nothing to lose. And in all actuality, I didn't have anything to lose. I was in a cell. It can't get worse than a cell. Some people think that it can, but it can't get too much worse than a cell. If you believe that you have a bigger purpose in life, and one of my purposes and meaning and purposes in life is to be able to inspire and to be able to help others. And if I feel like I'm not capable of living up to my meaning and purpose in that cell, then I felt that I didn't have anything to lose, only something to gain. So there was nothing that the system could have done to me at that point,
Man, that's great, man. That's definitely awesome right there, man. Because hey, actually, that's phenomenal. Just to go through that whole ordeal and be subjected to that harsh and unusual punishment, but still find a way to rise above it and excel in a way, not only based on, because you started off from a negative perspective, but then you repositioned yourself and took the law in your hand and just read it. And because as humans, I don't care who you are. You can be the judge, the lawyer, the prosecutor, the defendant. Everybody made mistakes. Everybody. And all you got to do is find the mistakes.
Yeah. Take the cards and play them to the best of your ability. There's always an opportunity. We just got to figure out what that opportunity is.
So at that moment, you made impossible an opinion, because obviously you made impossible not impossible.
Yeah, and that's what life is about. Turning impossible into possible.
Yeah.
Everything else is meaningless,
Right, man.
We got to look inside and find, some substance within ourselves, and ask ourselves, what do we want in life, And I couldn't find myself accepting sitting in prison as my meaning and purpose. That is not what I wanted in life. And so with that came the determination. And then, like you say, once I was able to overcome the fear, then I was able to apply my energy and mind in other places to be more creative and create an opportunity to get myself in the position and the place I'm in right now. And this is where I'm at. I'm not supposed to be here, but this is where I'm at. 4 months ago, I was in a prison cell, but this is where I'm at because this is where I'm supposed to be. And I overcame my fears and started to challenge myself so that I can go after and chase the dreams that I believed I was entitled to.
So 6 months ago, you was in a tuna can, a bathroom.
Yeah.
Now you look like you in a penthouse in Hollywood.
Well, something like that.
Hey, that's awesome, man. That's what it's all about right there, bro. So you didn't felt like you was at your worst, and now you got something to be happy about and feel good about.
Yeah, and it don't stop here though, because I want a whole lot of other people. It's a whole lot of other. It's thousands of Boscos out there. It's thousands of young Boscos out there who are lost and don't have a clue on the direction that they need to go.
Oh, ain't no question. In every neighborhood, every black neighborhood, and probably any minority neighborhood. But I'm just saying, for 4.5 months out, and you doing that, that's good. You got to feel good about that.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
but you don't have to stop there. You continue to go, and like you said, you live in your dream. So let that dream take you where it's gonna take you.
yeah, and this is just like the beginning of it. So
So talk to us about your foundation and what is your plan for the help the individuals that's kind of like lost or stuck in the rut or in the middle of not knowing which way to go. Talk to us
yeah,
about that.
but more so, Chasing Freedom Foundation, which is geared toward helping reduce the prison population, and it's two wings, or actually three wings of it, and one of them is to help get people out of prison who don't belong in prison, and another wing is to prevent the younger people from taking a road that leads to prison. And that's where it's going to come with a lot of interaction. And so my goal and aim is to bring together a bunch of level-headed guys and bring together a bunch of financial backing so that we can strategize and come up with ways to not only get people out of prison, but also prevent, our young homies from getting caught up in the system. And then also teaching financial wealth to where some people can learn that, instead of risking your life, because for $50 today, you know, there's things that you can do at 14, 15, and 16, and where you can make $50 legally and you can save that shit. So by the time you get 18 or 21, you have your nice amount of money that you can take and put somewhere else and become rich the legal way, as opposed to risking our lives to become rich when we never even become rich that way. Look at me. I went to go pick up 1,400 pounds of marijuana that was worth 1.4 million at the time, and here I am getting more than 1.4 million the legal way now. So it's sometimes we have to educate ourselves and people within our community so that we don't have, and then it goes back to that fear factor you said, Melly, because we fear at 14, 15, and 16 that we're not going to have food to eat. And so that fear compels us to go out there and do something to get some money. We fear that, if we don't have the flyest gear, we're not going to be accepted by our peers. Or if we don't have this car, this $500 shoe, we're not going to be able to attract women or be accepted by our peers. So that fear compels us into going out and doing things and risking our own lives for $200, sometimes $50, sometimes $10. When if we knew better, if we knew that how to overcome that fear and realize that things that are meant to come to us are going to come if we can just be patient and apply ourselves. So instead of risking our lives for $100, be patient and have confidence that you will overcome whatever odds are before you and apply yourself to where you can see money down the long term. And we lack that. And that's why we constantly find ourselves in these fucked up situations. Where is my meal going to come from a week from now? I got $30. I start to panic and go do something stupid. Now I
But
find myself in prison.
that's why it's definitely important that you teach financial literacy, because having $1 million and maintaining $1 million are totally two different things.
Facts.
And a lot of cats get that type of money, but they don't know how to maintain it. You know what I mean? They don't know how to take it and advance it and create other opportunities within that $1 million. Let's get $1 million and split it up amongst we. That way we have not only 1 millionaire, we got 3, 4, 5 millionaires. You understand? You know, it's the same thing with the blockchain and what a lot of the people are doing today. You know what I mean? With the multi businesses. You know what I mean? That and it's not necessarily the generic business that we thought about, the corner store or the market or the hamburger stand. Not none of that stuff. Something much more broader and bigger than that. And it's quite a lot of the things you can do from your home. You just got to be, you know, you got to put your mind to what you're trying to do and figure it out.
You can create a website and sell things right now and make $50, $100 a day. You know, and if you know what to do with that $50 to $100, you know, you can create more opportunity there. And we talking about a lot of this apply to people who don't really have overhead or expenses. Most of the money is just wasted on materialistic things that we don't even need. So instead of, you know, living in that moment, like even when I was hustling at 14, I'd be out there all day in chucks and khakis, you know, and I was stacked for weeks.
All right.
So people need to learn now that, you know, instead of just spending your money, fuck how you look, fuck what people think about you, go out there and grind, stack that shit till you got enough to do something else with it. And you can do that legally. You know, you got people who just hit for $20,000. You got some households with 5 people in it, and they each hit for $20,000 a piece. That's $100,000. You know what you can do with $100,000? Instead of going to buy 5 cars for one house, everybody pool that money together and go invest it somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing, is we have to teach that financial literacy, and that's
so
other wing of Chasing Freedom Foundation that would be.
Appreciate that, man. So would it be fair to say having a Benz with 4 Gianos is not an option at this time?
Nah.
Good. Kev Mack, I'm sure, man, by this time, man, your head is turning, man. I can just see it, man. Come on, man. I know you got some powerful questions up in there, man. We can't hear you, Kev Mack.
I said, actually, my head is stuck in one spot because I'm fascinated with this man's intelligence.
But didn't I tell you though, right?
And the one thing you guys spoke on, financial literacy, that's a big thing that we missing, because Melly Mel, you've been around millionaires or people that had millions run through their hands, and I have too. We come from big neighborhoods that was known for getting money, and even myself, we can get $1 million, but can you keep it? That's
really the whole key to it, man.
Yeah.
And then, man, you know how much I don't have that stuff run through these hands right here. You know what I mean? But I had to mature and grow up, you know.
You know, and then we came from an era where it was just all about fast money, and it wasn't about the future, and it wasn't about financial wealth for others and family members. And also, when Bill Clinton and them came and started confiscating people's property, that was tough on us. Especially in LA with Daryl Gates' ass. Daryl Gates was just hitting houses, didn't care if it had dope in it or not, with the batter ram and shit like that. One thing that I noticed about Bosco is he doesn't really blame nobody else for his failures, and he don't blame his cases on racism. So that's striking to me, because you know a lot of our black brothers always looking to blame somebody else for their failures.
Yeah, you know, the system is stacked, it's rigged against us. But I mean, we know this. So now when we know that and we still go out there and get caught up in it, we can't say that, you know, it's the system anymore. You know, we have to learn how to be smarter so that we can, you know, get around those traps that's out there for us. And sure, of course, the conditions that, you know, systemic racism is rooted in the fabric of this country, and that can hinder a person. But I myself, I refuse to be the victim, man. You know, I
Right,
can't.
right, right.
Let's take it from this perspective as well, based on universal principle, right? There's 365 days in a year, right? 52 weeks in a year, right? And when you look at that, it's impossible in the universe to hear no every day. Just like you won't hear yes every day. But if you progressive and you're about the pursuit of the things you want to attain in this life, how can you there's a yes waiting on you at some point. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, that's why you don't never give up. You should never give up.
Exactly. Exactly. So I don't care what anybody else is doing or not doing. If you about your business and getting into that, yeah, it's going to happen. Like you spoke about earlier on when you were saying about, you know what I mean, how you just take your time and was patient about certain things and it just came there. Yeah, all the limitations, information is out there. You're right. Man, see, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? This is
but
why, you know what I mean, why it's important to come on KM videos and
you
a lot of
know,
individuals.
take your
Go ahead.
cards, play best.
I think Bosco's freezing, man.
He freezing?
He might have got a phone call or something.
Can, can you hear me?
I hear
Yeah,
you
we
now.
got you there.
Y'all hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was freezing up for a moment. But I think so far, just from judging from the interview so far, it's pretty good. You know, I think this is like a really good interview that we just had right here. And hopefully a lot of people can see this and that, you know, this right here can, you know, inspire some people because it's definitely one of those type of interviews right here.
Yeah, most definitely, man. And I commend you for maturing while you was locked up and making the best of your situation and coming from up out of it, man. And then now you here to share your story with the world and also offer good advice. And like you said, you want to do other things to help people like us that have been caught up in the system and just stuck. And so, yeah, I commend you for all of that, bro. Let me ask you about your education. What type of education did you get while locked up?
Just basic education, self-taught, just reading books, a lot of
Was that
emotional
from
intelligence.
Calipatria or was that in the feds?
Yeah, to be honest with you, in the Feds, the only thing I was concerned with was breaking out and then learning the law. Other than that, most of it came from Calipat. Back high desert, I was back in the state. Most of my shit came in the state. I was on level 4 yards and just devouring books. And you know, and the thing is like one thing that uh, I'm real big on is emotional intelligence because you can read all the books and have all the book smarts you want, but if you don't have that emotional intelligence and know how to connect with people and you know have compassion and understanding about people, then it don't matter how smart you are. So you know, I'm fortunate enough to be able to have a high emotional IQ to where you know I can relate to people.
What was your family support like all those years you were gone?
Yeah, my family support. You know, my mother, she's been my backbone all my life. You know, and to this day. So I got a mother like strongest, caring, sweetest, endearing woman in the world. So, you know, I always had her. So as long as I had her, shit, you know, I was good.
That's my wife.
Right. How'd you get so lucky, Melly Mel?
Man, you know what, man? I'm definitely lucky, man, because she helped me put my stuff together. You know what I mean? And I didn't just get this way. You know what I mean? On my own. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, just finding the right teammate, man.
That's good, man. That's real good, man. It's funny how even dudes that go to jail, they not everybody, obviously, but dudes go to jail with a wife or a girlfriend that they love, maybe even robbing or selling dope to give her the things she want. And then you go to find yourself in prison and it's always your mama, man. Your mama that be
Yeah,
there for you
yeah,
and keep you going.
Yeah,
yeah,
and that's the thing. That's the thing with all of us, because black dudes, period, is at the end of the day, we always gonna have our mothers there, and so like I love my mother dearly. So, and for you to understand what love for a mother is, then you can't find yourself hating any other mother. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so I often find myself to where I can't find myself inflicting pain against any other mother because I see my mother in other mothers, you know? And so I think once we all understand that, then we will start embracing each other even more, because I can't find myself causing harm to Cav Mac. And not so much because of Cav Mac, but because of Cav Mac's mother. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying you personally, Kev Mac, but I'm just saying any person. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Because that black motherhood is something special. And hopefully we, as young black men, we can start to appreciate that more, because you can't say you love your mother dearly, but you go around and cause another mother who is similar to your mother heartache and pain.
For real. That's real talk. What you thinking
But
about, Melly Mel?
I was just listening, man, taking it all in because you know what I mean. Professor Melly Mel, you know how I am, man. Almost everything we do make me think, even on a deeper level. I always think about everything we talk about, the people we talk to, and it's just a whole lot of growth in there for me and education to how we should proceed even to the next stage or the next level, man. You know what I mean? Because this thing is evolving, Kev Mac, and from the time we been together, you know what I mean? It hasn't got. I just always reflect back on that first meeting, man. I'm
Mhm.
always there, and then I look at where we at now. You know what I mean? Saying we talking Bosco, my son, right here, and then everything, all his transitions and everything he had to do, man. It's just a beautiful thing, man. You know what I mean? Three black men, you know, are grounded, sound, and just sure about themselves and the things that they want and they want others to have. You know, I want for my brother what I want for myself. You
Mhm.
know,
Let me say this real quick, because it's kind of relevant for the Mac Kids and Maniacs, for all our viewers, for what Bosco just said, what you said. Me and Melly Mel had a conversation on the phone a couple days ago about how the nigga that beat up all the homies or lead the gang fights or the shot niggas and killed niggas will come to your house and have the most politeness, the best mannerism to your mother. How
yeah,
you doing,
yeah,
Mrs. McIntosh? How you doing today?
yeah,
You need help with your groceries? Is there anything I could do for you? Well, I know Max in jail. Can I set your trash cans out or anything you need me to run
yeah,
to the store for you? And the world don't know that about us. Well, like you said, Bosco, is so much love and respect for a black woman, a black mother. And you would never know that if you're not on the inside or if you're not the mother that's receiving the politeness. Um, so I just wanted people to know that, man. The homeboys I had that you might think was the worst homeboys was actually very respectful to their homeboys' parents.
man. And right what you're saying, man. My daddy loved him some Killer Wayne, man. Killer Wayne was a terrible terror in the neighborhood, but my daddy loved him some Killer Wayne, and Killer Wayne loved him my daddy. You understand? So that what you saying is so true.
Mhm.
You know, rest in peace, Killer Wayne, though, man. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a homeboy Roscoe like that too. Roscoe was actually smaller than me. He was 2 months older than me, but he was smaller than me. And my father used to admire him. He used to love him. And one day I asked him, like, why you like him so much? He like, because he's a little dude with a big heart and he's brave. And I always look out the door and see him fighting dudes way bigger than him. So I used to be like, man, I want to be like Roscoe. I used to fuck with Roscoe and wrestle with him and shit. Roscoe was a beast. Then he went to YA when he was about 16 or 17. Boy, he outgrew me like a motherfucker with muscles, height, everything. So he really was a beast then. Yeah. But anything else, Mel?
I think, I mean, not listening to Mac Heads and Maniacs, want to get a couple of questions in.
Y'all got a couple questions for Bosco? Give him about 30 seconds. Some clown said, "Are you free or did you escape?"
Both.
Yeah, some of these dudes can be funny, man.
Megalicious said, "Great interview." Henny guy want to know, do you have a book list of some of the books you read?
Yeah, autobiography of Malcolm X. From miseducation to education and miseducation of the Negro. Them were good books. I think everybody should read that, especially miseducation of the Negro.
Absolutely, I double agree.
Have you ever thought about speaking to groups or kids?
Yeah. Actually, I'm going heavy into that. It's just like right now, I'm so tied up with all this filming and the production. But once all this production is over in the next month, start setting up things like that. That's where my heart is at.
Somebody want to know, where did you escape from again?
From Alton, Illinois, Alton Detention Center, Illinois.
Let's see. Do you know how very blessed you are, Bosco?
Yeah, I think I know it too much.
That's a humble person. A little too much. Bosco, you ever gonna get into real estate?
Yeah, I'm getting everywhere. Everywhere that's calling my name. There's just so many opportunities, so much out here for me right now, and I just got to take some things one step at a time. But definitely, real estate is a place where everybody should want to put their money at. But I'd wait for about a year to crash for a minute before you start throwing it into California or find some other locations out of, LA is too high right now. Find some places where it's cheap and throw some money there you can't lose.
Was you on the show Breakout?
Yeah.
How did you get on the TV show Breakout?
They producers sought me out while I was in prison.
Somebody want to let's see, where did that go? Fantastic interview. Props to Bosco.
Fantastic. There it is.
Did you run across any Illinois gangs when you were locked up?
Yeah, I know a lot of them. Crushing my partner, GD. Larry Hoover, Cody Finnis, my Eastbourne Qwuantay gang of them. Bunch of GDs and Lords.
All right. I'm just looking for this one comment real quick. Let's see. They said, let you know that you're supposed to be here.
That's a fact.
That's it, man. Hey, also, let me extend my my appreciation for who he is as a man and an individual, because I watched him come home, right? And from day one, he never detoured or deviated from his initial plan, and I'm saying that to say this. You know how some dudes come out and they first thing is to get with women and all this stuff? Not him. He did not do that.
A meal.
He stayed hyper focused on what the initial plan was. Whatever he drew up from that point, from where he was at, and was that federal? What was the name of that place down in Pennsylvania? Bosco?
USP Canaan.
USP Canaan. He came out of USP Canaan, man, ready to go, man. He was built for this, man. I'm telling you, he was built for this. And it showed, and every step he took was based on him building that foundation, putting that concrete, the cement, and the framing, and all to build this strong structure that is gonna be upright soon, and people will see it, and then they'll be like, wow, you know.
That's it there.
Hey, before you go, Bosco, because some people may have came late, or they just, sometimes I have a problem with people, no disrespect, being dumb, deaf, blind, and ignorant, and very repetitive. But again, some of them may have came late. But the question that I keep seeing over and over and over and over again is, what are you doing now that you're free?
Tell them to follow me on Instagram at Chasing Freedom. CHASIN_FREEDUM, or either go to my jailhousepublishing.com. They see everything.
Yeah, and that's pretty much in a nutshell right there. If they go to Jailhouse Publishing, they will see everything.
All right, good looking out, man. I appreciate it. That was a good interview, man. I know you're gonna have a lot of big interviews coming up real soon. So it's good that you brought your information here first, and let some people that's really interested know where to find you and be looking out for your endeavors. Appreciate it, Melly Mel. Good looking out.
Man, how many chat room goons we got out there, Kev, man?
233 right now.
Okay, man, that's a good number, man. Make sure, man, y'all follow Professor Melly Mel, the Hood Postman. Y'all know I'm on Instagram and YouTube from time to time. But I am the ambassador to KM Videos, where content is fucking king, and don't you forget that.
That's right. Good looking out, man. And much props to you, Bosco, and hope everything turned out good for you.
Melly Mel, I get with y'all. It's my dinner time, man. I catch up with y'all later. It's all
Okay,
love.
I'll talk to you soon, son. Talk to you soon. All right, KM Video. Content is king. You know the vibe.
Melly Mel. All right, bro.
Okay, Kev.
All right. All right, Mackies and Maniacs. That's it for Bosco. I'm getting ready to go watch the Patriots continue to get blown out on NFL Monday Night Football. And then King Real will be here, live in studio. King Real, y'all got some questions for him? Y'all want him to bust a freestyle or anything? King Real will be right here. Thanks for tuning in. Good looking out for all the super chats. See y'all in a little bit. See y'all in an hour. Peace.